Welcome, conscious creators, to the Eternal Growth Network. Today's reminder is just to go ahead and push through it, press play. If you want to record, if you want to do a podcast, if you want to make clothes, if you want to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is you want to do, sometimes you just gotta just do it. This morning specifically, I'm up right before the kid. So it's times where I try to plan nice and perfect for how I want something to go. But it's amazing how it starts off on one end with so much inspiration. It in fact is an inspired action. But then I go ahead and take that action and I dissect it a few times, start to give it a little sizzle on this side. Oh, let me just tweak it this way. Oh, but what about this? Oh, but what happens if I do this? Oh, if I don't do this? And it starts to turn something that was really beautiful into something that's like a struggle and like filled with resistance. So first things first is just for anybody out there making that move to do something new. Sometimes it takes just kind of busting through that fear and doubt. And I'm not even gonna say sometimes, all the time. Sometimes are easier than others to do that. You know, when you build enough, as Abraham Hicks would say, you build enough contrast. You know, you see a whole lot of what you don't want, then it starts to make what you do want a whole lot easier to recognize and or fulfill. So that's what I'm experiencing now, you know, with the Eternal Growth Network. I'm gonna let y'all in on a few projects that I have going right now. My beloved Book of You. This is a community journal that I'll take to anyone in the public, you know, you guys included, if you want to answer the question. And I would basically give them an opportunity to answer the question, what advice would you give to your past self? And of course here it says, please express freely and authentically. And it's just really beautiful how this has already come along. Sorry, I just get my paper right. Like people have been really, and you saw some people kind of put a whole page in there, some people put a little snippet, but all of it is just beautiful. Looking forward to sharing this with y'all. Once again, I hesitate because I want to deliver it so perfectly. Like I want to have my backdrop and my intro that's super consistent. But if you've known how long I've been working on the Eternal Growth Network itself, it's always been like a perfectionist project that's been keeping me from elevating. So hence this 15-day, you know, making 3K with the brand is just something that I've always tried to do within, let's say, my regular jobs. And whenever I shed light onto the brand, and in this case, onto the movement, it's just a whole lot of resistance within the place I'm at. So, you know, that's natural. I bartend and serve. And so, you know, don't let a customer say that they like the shirt I'm wearing, because most of the time the shirt I'm wearing is going to be happening here. The shirt's always going to have something like this on it. Think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration, vibrate higher. You know, you got the flower, the EGN logo. So whenever people just go ahead and don't get me started, I'm gonna talk for hours. So, you know, what happens is every time that there's the opportunity to really engage with someone, oh, they love what I'm doing, they want to, you know, collab, or they want to purchase a shirt, or there's just that means to have further conversation. And every time I get into that deeper necessary conversation, it's like the universe, and I can't say the universe is going against me, but it's like the universe starts to split up. Okay, there's the version of soul that is a bartender, and there's the version of soul that is, you know, a thought leader, you know what I mean? So as I start to act on this version of myself, there's an obvious dissonance from this version, and I think that starts to reflect my reality all the time. Before I had this yearn to get back into the Eternal Growth Network, I was killing it at my job as far as wanting to be shadow manager. You know what I mean? Like I'm putting I invested a lot of energy into, you know, this place where, you know, it wasn't running smoothly. You know, it could have used a lot of management, and so I took that weight on myself to just go ahead and, you know, be the change. be the catalyst. And so I really enjoyed that, to its fullest. It was, that was my purpose at the time. And it's just so interesting how the universe starts to, change your circumstances, but only matching what you're turning into. So upon me taking upon all that extra responsibility, I think that's had a change on me in general, on just being more responsible. And so that required me to be more responsible with myself, hold myself to a certain standard. And, I'm really grateful for all the changes that I've made since being at my last job. But it's time to make these changes to be in this job, this career of being a thought leader. What's really cool about the Book of You is it's a very great tool to meet new people, and it gives us a reason to dive deep. If I'm asking you about what kind of advice you would give to your past self, some people that's a trigger. Some people that's like, you can see where it takes them before they can even speak about where they're going. And I love being able to catch that moment. So, I think this will be an opportunity to share those moments too, with y'all. But yeah, this is officially day one, $0 profit of the 3K profit I'm going for. And altogether, this is just like a strong movement into faith, as well as a movement into trust in myself. And faith is all, faith depending on your direction in religion. I call it source, I say universe. Sometimes I say yourself. But yeah, it's an interesting way that source always has been there for me as much as I've been there for myself, but I've never had the same level of request. Sometimes I want a little more than, sometimes I want a little more than I'm ready for. Other times I want less than I'm already deserving. And, the alignment can really be like all over the place. But in these days, especially with my wife now, definitely proposed, you guys, like a few days ago. Would you believe that was supposed to be the start of the first video, number one? But there was all the hesitation because it's just the procrastination and the perfectionism. Like, it's just always so hard to get it started. And I can't even say getting the momentum going, like getting hype about it is like top tier. But getting started is like, okay, by the time I'm ready to get something officially on paper, it's already dissected 1,000 more times. 2 new ideas birthed from the original idea that didn't get a chance to come to see light. So it's always a lot of that going on. But I don't want to affirm there's always a lot of that going on. There have been a lot of that going on. And moving forward, there's a lot more, inspire action on the dime, just like this morning. Rather than kind of think about too much of what I was going to talk about, I'm just going to keep on trying to hit y'all with, raw content until I'm in a space to be more specific, to be more detailed, to make it pretty, you know what I mean? And that's a big step for myself, to be able to allow myself to post raw content. I love edits, I love cuts, I love a nice thumbnail. So all that's going to soon come. So this is like my own personal step out of comfort zone, to just put videos up raw like this without having a setting, a background, or even like a specific intro. So all in all, that message again just goes to, I see everything as vibration and everything is attraction. If I'm in front of you right now and you manage to make it through this part of the video, it's really your world. And this is, if you haven't heard, I'm sure you heard this before, because if you're hearing it from me, I'm just a confirmation for what you've already been telling yourself. It's your world, it's your life, and I am someone who's actively leaning into faith, like actively ready to put my skills to the test, and like with no safety net. Safety net was my original gig that I had, but now it's like we're over the safety net. I have a whole lot more faith than I did in the past. My lady is very blessed. She's I think she's highly favored. Then we also have our daughter, Miles, where I think that she already has this, I'm gonna say ability to manifest. Obviously as a kid, we're all at her, we're at her foot, but I think there's something going on there. And I'm gonna be delusional in that to say that our whole family is just really tapped in. So it's about time for me to upgrade, so for me to level up my vibration and kind of step in, and I mean kind of, so I gotta change my wording. I need to step into divinity, into divine action, aligned action, and you're witnessing this. So through the ebb and flows of it all, I really would like to catch it this time because the life is just too magical, and I do look forward to sharing with you other instances of magic. But today, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and post again today on the progress of making of these shirts today, and then I really like to do a short on the Book of You, and maybe start getting some of those in there. But overall, if you support the quest for it's not even financial freedom. I want to still do my projects that just at this point are now funding themselves and funding other people, so that I can expand. I can do so much with my checks, and I make tips, so I can do so much with my tips from work. But then, how much change I want to make if I can't really get out of that that price bracket? Like, oh, I want to go to this event here. And it all just goes into what you're desiring, what you're putting out there into your vortex to say that that you accept are on the way to you. I guess that's the real way to go about it. But all in all, many blessings y'all way. More life, anything that is better for you, just go for it. 1% better, even go for it. 1% better is better than 1% in the other direction, whatever that direction means for you. So that's more life. And then of course, I'm always gonna end it with a vibrate higher. Many blessings.